Hey folks, it's Maxie here and welcome to another TEW2020 episode. You join us for our second AEW Revolution pay-per-view. We're looking to surpass last year's record of a 78, we should beat that. And we are likely to smash our attendance record. We will be in the tri-state region, we're going to be in the Bronx. I'm actually aiming to try and get our biggest ever attendance. The show's been extended to 3.5 hours because of the amount of matches we had in the show. I added one extra one because once I'd moved a few around to the pre-show there was like 10 minutes sitting, so I thought, alright, we'll get the Young Bucks on the card. So the Young Bucks will be featured on the pay-per-view despite not having a prior announced matchup. Opted for a B-list celebrity, so that's going to cost us $1 million and $100,000 on a special set. I've faith in the main event. I've obviously faith in our opening angle, so I'm hoping we can maybe get that 100 rating. We'll be on Dish Network, we'll be on Dish Mexico and Star Choice. We will not be on AEW Live because that conflicts with the Dish Network and we need to care more about the money than a global audience here. If we compare back to 1 year ago, Revolution in 2021, we had a main event of Hangman Page defeating Jon Moxley to retain the world title. And interestingly enough, we also had Cody versus Pac, which is one of our matches tonight for the AEW World Championship. But just seeing there as well, Austin Creed and Kenny Omega against the Lucha Brothers. Someone's been criminally underused since then. I made Claudio Castagnoli take on Jake Hager. Plus the Sex Gods against the Titans. Two tag teams that of course are no more. But we'll stop while on because there's a lot to cover. It's a long show, I think there's like 25 segments, not including the pre-show. So without further ado, here is AEW Revolution 2022. So in the Bronx it turns out we have 58,419 fans. I'm hoping that may be a record. We'll obviously double check that in the top 100 when we go back. Pre-show matches, the team of Saraya and Lana Austin defeated the Fashion Empire's Chelsea Green and Deonna Purrazzo in 9:25 when Saraya pinned Deonna with the Nightlight. At 55 here, Deonna off her game, Saraya head and shoulders above everyone else in the matchup. We had that matchup we spoke about that was going to have Women's Championship implications because of the injury to Mercedes Varnado. Toni Storm's already there, but she could not prevent another person joining, as we will soon have a triple threat match between Toni Storm, Mercedes Varnado and a former adversary of Mercedes, which is of course Chris Statlander, who picked up the win here over Toni Storm. The debuting Thunder Rosa, Anna Jay, Dr. Britt Baker and Cassie in 13:50 when Statlander pinned Cassie. So 52. Thunder Rosa debuts old face gimmick, which is initial rating of great. Toni Storm was off her game. Toni was complaining she did not want to lose here, but she was intimidated by that alien Chris Statlander. But she picks up the win and I'm looking forward to that triple threat match down the line. This probably should be on the main show, but I think I made it Wild Brawl. I'll steal the show, but in a pre-show bout, good wrestling, decent reaction from the crowd, and Proud and Powerful defeated Catch Point in 13:41 when Santana pinned Drew Gulak. They make the 6th defence of the world titles. So in 82, it's fantastic, should be in the main card. Maybe I should have put the Young Bucks on the pre-show considering that was a non-title matchup, but it's the way it works out, and Proud and Powerful continue to be tag team champions. And with the AEW Live Championship on the line, Scorpio Sky rolls up Killer Cross in 8:11 with a quick cradle, gives him his third defence. This was always going to be a struggle with the broken hand that Killer Cross has, and a 66 plus the storytelling matchup sees Scorpio Sky pick up the win in your dark main event. We finished the bit with an angle though, and it's just Eddie Kingston again berating this time Killer Cross, just asking, where is the killer within you? What the hell happened to you, man? So is it possible recruitment for Eddie Kingston? Time for the show itself, and we start off with a 97 angle. The usual hype package of the likes of Cody, Pac, Chris Jericho, MJF, Moxley, Omega, Fenix and Pentagon all talking about their chances in their respective matchups. We obviously have each man saying why they will be a number one contender and a dark horse to be the main man in AEW in 2022 for the Fatal 4-Way. MJF saying he's going to end the career of Chris Jericho, and Chris Jericho talking about how he's going to make a punk out of that little bitch MJF. Pac saying that he is going to become world champion again, and Cody saying he'll go to any lengths, and he means any lengths, to retain his championship belt. So 97, good start to the show there. Moxley and Fenix struggling off script. Too many of these guys want to go off script, so they're stuck with it. Opening contest of the evening was an exceptional matchup and a bit of a shock match for many, as Chris Jericho defeated MJF in 1955 by submission with the Walls of Jericho. A 76, Jericho with the 88 and MJF with a 98. So you're probably thinking to yourself, why would you book this? Why would you put Jericho over an up and coming talent? Well, as you're probably aware, there's the MJF social media storm. So I don't want MJF winning championships, main eventing. I want to keep him just below that. Jericho, despite his age, has a very high psychology stat, and I want him back up in the main event. So he won't really be jobbing to people, he'll just be putting on killer matches even at his age. And I feel like he can get the win over MJF. It keeps him as an active competitor. The reason for the 76 is we had to protect MJF. He wasn't going to put Jericho over, so I had to be kept strong. Plus you'll get your usual physical decline, etc, etc, stamina, but I had to do it. And hopefully it gives Jericho a good boost. But yeah, that social media storm has cost MJF the victory here. And that's why I started with it, so I felt 76, it won't be as good as it probably should be. After the matchup, MJF is just raging, and he says he can't believe that he didn't tap out. He tripped up and fell into that submission, and Chris Jericho get nothing but lucky. But he's raging, he's confused, he's like, what the hell just happened? And brings an 85 promo in his upset demeanour from his defeat. We then have Samoa Joe heading towards the Hangman Ranch, I think we'll call it, because it's a Hangman Rules match. And as he's preparing to find Hangman, he spots one of the members of Hangman's posse, Shawn Spears. So he puts him in the Kikuna clutch, and Shawn Spears is put to sleep. So 47 for that. That matchup happens later tonight. Then have Sammy Guevara cut a promo on Orange Cassidy, which drew an 83, and he just says, look at the destruction that we've done to your best friends, and it's only a matter of time before the same punishment is inflicted on you. So not sure when that happens. Before it, we have Samoa Joe finding the blade, I'm forgetting how the way I booked this. So he's found the blade on the ranch, and he puts him in a Kikuna clutch and puts him to sleep. So a 49. So he's only just got the butcher to find, and then he gets his hands on Hangman. We then have that aforementioned matchup between Orange Cassidy and Sammy Guevara. About the head superb wrestling and great heat, Orange Cassidy defeats Sammy Guevara in 14:38 by pinfall with a fast roll up. So a few things to take into account here is it's an 80, despite an 84 and a 97 in great chemistry. I'm trying to build Orange Cassidy up, so obviously we to protect Sammy Guevara here, which is why he was kept strong. So you're noticing a lot of these matches is all about building tonight and putting people over. I'm surprised there was no lack of psychology, even though it only went less than 15 minutes. So that gives me faith that these two in a 20-minute match could possibly do bits, which is really, really interesting. It's two people you probably wouldn't associate with that. But delighted with it, and we'll see if Cassidy reaps the benefit from that at the end of the show. Samoa Joe then finds the Butcher, and he attacks the Butcher. The big man takes a wee bit longer to fall down, but he puts the Butcher in the Kikuna clutch and puts him to sleep. He's now on Hangman's ranch, looking for Hangman Page. 55. We then have that tag match with the Young Bucks. I just put an extra 10 minutes, so I put them in against the Acclaimed, against Anthony Bowens and Max Caster. Per matchup, the Young Bucks defeat the Acclaimed in 9:47 when Nick Jackson pinned Anthony Bowens with a Meltzer driver. A 73, basically giving them a win and giving Caster and Bowens exposure on pay-per-view in front of nearly 60,000 fans, but all about the win for the Young Bucks in this instance. Moving along, we've got a promo from the New Age Horsemen, of course Cody Rhodes, Ace Austin, AJ Styles and Pete Dunne, and a 75 promo was just to remind people of their alliance. But Cody saying, if I need yous, be on the lookout, but I think you've got other things I want you to take care of tonight, just make sure you do that. So a 75, it'll be interesting to see what Ace, AJ and Pete get up to later on tonight. Then had that match up, and it was basically a cinematic match that I wanted to call Hangman Rules. So basically imagine a cinematic match up on a farm, on a ranch where there's hundreds of cowboy stuff. It was a superb matchup. Samoa Joe defeats Hangman Page in the cinematic match in 2008 with Vicky Queen of Clutch, a 71, a 72 from Joe and a 95 from Hangman. So again, building up Samoa Joe as a dominant character. My worry is that Joe may be capped in potential and overness, which is understandable given his age. Hangman's been great, but this is the first time I've seen a cinematic style approach backfire. It made the match a bit of a mess, maybe made it too long, but we did get a boost thanks to the industry leader production values. And also to keep Hangman strong as well, so that's going to hamper it. But you can clearly tell putting people over. There you go. Penalised for his gimmick in a cinematic style, and penalised because of the random element of it being cinematic. That's fair enough. I know it's not really my product because we've had cinematic matches before which have been fine, so it could just be one of those things, but they don't work all the time. You know, there's been instances where you've had the Street Profits and the Viking Raiders that people were about, so it's understandable. We then had the Trios Championships on the line. It was a decent match-up as the British Empire, Will Ospreay, Trent Seven and Tyler Bate defeated End of War, Tommy End, Raymond Rowe and Hansen in 13:33 when Will Ospreay pinned Raymond Rowe with a Stormbreaker. This gives us new champions. Will Ospreay, Seven and Bate are your new Trios champions. A 74 here because obviously the mix of in-ring performances with Ospreay and End as the main guys. In the matchup, we have a celebration between Ospreay, Seven and Bate, which gathered the 71. They're absolutely delighted to become champions, and after this they are beaten down by that trio of AJ, Ace and Pete Dunne. Of course, I went a bit quiet over the couple of weeks of the fractured relationship between Bate, Seven and Dunne, but I felt like if we get that trios match done, no pun intended there, then Pete Dunne can strike alongside Styles in Austin. So that tandem beats the beat down on the British Empire. Trios division is really starting to heat up. Then had Sir Brodie Lee cutting a promo on his upcoming match with Darby Allin. He says he brought Darby Allin into the Dark Order. At first it was meant to be as a servant, but now it was a case of helping him be the best he could be, enriching everyone's life like he does with everyone in the Dark Order. Helped him become TNT champion, and he's just disappointed at this whole trying to get away from him kind of thing. So he's just going to show that he is the true Exalted One and that Darby Allin should fall in line. 81. It must be said before this matchup happens, Sir Brodie Lee sustained an injury on a house show literally the day before the event, so that may hamper the overall match rating. He won't be back to full fitness until the end of the March pay-per-view. I'm not going to lie, considering the Brodie Lee injury and considering the lack of psychology, an 83 can be seen as a very good rating there. As I say, they'll obviously have a rematch when Brodie's fully fit in game. About the head, superb wrestling and great heat. Darby Allin defeats Sir Brodie Lee in 2018 by pinfall with the fast roll-up. So, taking advantage of the injury, Darby Allin gets his revenge, the crowd goes wild, and he picks up a very big W. So, had to do it. A bit of a shame with injury, but we all know if Brodie Lee was still around, they'd be putting so many people over and just generally being a fantastic help to all the younger talents. Moving along, speaking of young talents, we have Ricky Starks, who cuts his promo on his big opportunity against Prince Devitt, how he's going to take the TNT Championship to the Uprising. That's a 75. And then the matchup was also a 75. Good matchup as Devitt defeats Ricky Starks in 14:55 with a double nut gutbuster. Gives Devitt the first defence of the TNT title. I don't mind the 75 because it's kind of in the mix of their performances, an 86 and a 68 there. I did make it steal the show. I tried to make it open and give Ricky Starks a bit of offence as well. But it's one of those ones. One's way up and one's an up and comer. So you're not always going to get the great result. But if it benefits Starks in the long term, we're all for it. Moving along, we had a little bit of a funny angle here. So I decided to have the Dark Order unveil AEW's latest line of action figures, which happens to be an 8-pack of Dark Order members. So you can pick up from AEWshop.com your Sir Brodie Lee, Stu Grayson, Evil Uno, John Silver, Alex Reynolds, Anna Jay, Priscilla Kelly and Abaddon figures. So that's a 48. Just a comic segment they had in there. Speaking of the Dark Order women though, we had a terrible matchup. They had the team of Abaddon and Priscilla Kelly defeat Mayu Iwatani, Riho in 13:54 when Priscilla pinned Iwatani. During the matchup we had Anna Jay distract Iwatani, and that allowed the Dark Orders Abaddon and Priscilla Kelly to win the Women's Tag Team Championships. So overall 56, because we're still trying to get Kelly and Abaddon over, but I feel it's time for Riho to move to singles competition. So the Dark Order females pick up the win, and after the matchup, the three of them, with Anna Jay there as well, celebrates a fair time. We'll start to work on her character now. She'll move away from the entertainer gimmick because she's now a heel, and she will no longer have the star of the show persona. Cody has his usual over-the-top spectacular entrance. 61 because it obviously suffers from a lack of anything happening. I wanted to go for the 4-minute one, but I felt the 5-minute angle that I have would have pyro and all sorts, and it was just to have that kind of more realistic feel. So we do tank a bit in the ratings, but it is all down to the matchup. And you'll notice Cody versus Pac is not main eventing. How will their matchup do? An 87 when they last tangled. Opposite sides of the heel face divide this time. 87 again. An exceptional matchup. Cody Rhodes defeats Pac in 24-11 by pinfall by using underhanded tactics. Cody Rhodes makes his first title defence of the world title. Pac loses the rematch. 95 and a 92, and the lack of psychology made it drift a little. I thought that would be the case, although probably could have still main evented at that. But Cody retains, so obviously wasn't going to drop the title straight away. Lack of psychology, poor gimmicks. There's a few negatives there, but an 87 we can be happy with, and get ready for an exceptional, hopeful fatal 4-way matchup. And it doesn't deliver us our 100 rating, unfortunately. We get a 93, which is still way up there. An exceptional matchup saw Kenny Omega defeat John Moxley, Pentagon Jr. and Rey Fenix in 31-08, and Kenny Omega pinned Pentagon with a one-winged angel. During the matchup we had La Sombra Almas run in, attack John Moxley, taking him out of action, and Kenny overcomes the odds to pick up the win. So 93 overall, 94, 94, 92, 98 in terms of in-ring performances, and La Sombra Almas debuts his arrogant heel gimmick, which got an initial rating of very good. I think if you want to be the best at Pentagon and Phoenix, you have to go with them as a tag team, but it's still great performances. And that kind of shows me as well that in terms of psychology, you just need one guy to carry it. That one guy that carried it here was the cleaner, Kenny Omega. John Moxley also wanted to be protected, but I wanted the big match rating, so obviously he'll be a bit unhappy, but we'll fire him some money hopefully and keep him happy. And a few negatives, just Moxley's declining physical ability and the announced team's low experience, which hopefully will gain more over time. And I finished the show with Moxley trying to get his hands on La Sombra Almas, but he just cannot get through the various road agents and security staff that is preventing this mass brawl. In 84, but it already shows going forward we have Moxley and Almas in a programme, and we are looking at a future World Championship match between the champion Cody Rhodes and a babyface best bout machine Kenny Omega. So 84 overall, The show 98, oh, if we could have boosted it a bit more, we would have got that 100. Maybe could have done with the 100 opening promo, but still up there as one of our best shows. And I wanted that kind of wave. I felt like we could target the 100, which is why I put the boosts in with the celebrity. Maybe could have been a bit more aggressive with them, but we still had to make money. That was another main thing. So we'll gain popularity with our Dish Network. So that's the US, Canada, Mexico, and the other place that we have it on. I think it's Canada possible actually. So it'll be Canada, Mexico and that, but it's a shame we don't have AEW Live, but hopefully the money raised from this show does that. But it just shows you as well, if you book your product towards the top of the card, it means you get so much here to experiment with and can have whatever you want during the show, as long as that main event can deliver. I don't like doing post-match shows, so we'll just our speeches, so we'll leave that. We had a couple of shows also on tonight from other companies, and I think I saw Angel Garza's contract up there. Nope, but it is another person that I would like to get my hands on. Should we try and bring certain generic luchador to AEW? See, we shall. Anyway, it was not WWE, it was Warrior Wrestling. But yeah, we also had PWG was show in the Japan, WWE voluned out Brock Lesnar. NXT had a show as well, as did NWA, had Power 100. But AEW Revolution was incredible, absolute success. We just got to a Power 500, that's not what I wanted to go to actually, not Power 500, Company of Wars. Top 100, so AEW Revolution is our best show in this save by a mile. So the other good show I had was in that WCW offline one, so yeah, by far 6 points clear of any other show. So I think we start putting more boosts in, we could be targeting 100s, which is good, because as much as it's like, oh, you're perfecting it, I just want the achievements, and if we can do it on the YouTube videos, even better. The match itself goes in at number 3. The attendance smashes it by just under 4,000, so that's good. And the buy rate as well, the greatest ever buy rate in AEW history, so we are really on a roll. And I just saw my money was at 11,000, so despite 9 million into media, we're only going to be 200,000 into debt, so we'll be able to fire a lot more into media. And the ticket sales are up, which is really good as well. But we shouldn't see any tax because we're in debt, so I'm hoping we can fire a lot of that into media and benefit from it. Anyway, Scorpio Sky re-signs on a handshake deal. I know I keep saying I don't want to keep sending people from WWE, but 82 psychology. I want a 100 rating. Get as many of them in if we get a high rating. So we're going to target Johnny Gargano. We're obviously going to target Sami Zayn. Jeff Hardy's left WWE, so I'm probably going to bring in the Hardys. It's not really AEW, but as I say, realism went out the window a long time ago. So just to confirm that Johnny Gargano will get re-offered a deal. We'll obviously need to beat WWE for him. We can't guarantee we'll get him. Obviously missed out on Becky Lynch. We'll try for that generic luchador. Will Ospreay is got Christopher Daniels as a fan. We had 2.6 million viewers. The buy rate of 5.36. Also, good they're still there, so I need to remember that off video. Size is a good position. 84 we're fine in the America, we're fine in Canada. Mexico we just need to keep getting over. We're fine in the UK, that's above that level as well. Japan we're making strides. Europe is a long way to go. Oceania, India's doing better, but it looks like Oceania is going to be a big market to try and get people over. So we're going to end it there. Thank you very much for watching. As I say, if I just quickly jump here, we don't really have many debuts. You already know about Liv Morgan and the potential of Skrull, depending what happens IRL. But yeah, a lot of people coming back very soon. You can see quite a few injuries there, but everyone barring Isaiah Cassidy will be back within just over a month. So you're looking at Jungle Boy back shortly, Kenta 11 days, Cross back 11 days, Mercedes will be fine in 4, and Sir Brodie Lee and Sonny Kiss 25 and 16 days respectively. So big roster, but a lot of injuries. I might even make another show, but it won't be like on YouTube. I'll just book it off stream, I'm looking at AEW heels to give the women an opportunity to try and get their overness over, because if they're on the network they will get good exposure and hopefully that overness boosts. I forgot to mention this one, but let's have a look at overness. So Abaddon's up to 44, that's the gain. Bones has still got a long way to go. Just try to find people that were in action. Jericho, there you go. I think that one over MJF certainly helped. Up 11, 12 in some places. Incredible for him. Cody, 95s in some places. Darby Allin succeeded with that one over Sir Brodie Lee. Who else have we got that will have Hangman? I think he's still at a good place. I don't know why we're just not getting over in Hawaii, because I've not been to Hawaii in game, but there's never usually good attendances there, but I might actually need to do that just to get over. But yeah, absolutely delighted. As I say, he's still in a good position. We have Moxley, still in a good position. Kenny, just short of the 90s, so we'll still need to try and work on Kenny in a few places, but hopefully his feud with Cody can do that. La Sombra, he actually gained a lot of bit overness there, so a long way to go with him, but still happy. Statlander's kind of still at 42s, still has chilly momentum, difficult one to go over. We have Mercedes is still at 61, she only gained 1 since she got here. MGF, well there you go, loses to Chris Jericho and still is like pretty much the Rock in this with his overness in the US, so he is still in a good position. Pac still in the low 90s, which is good. Orange Cassidy, small gains there, nothing massive. Pentagon, good position despite losing. Prince Devitt, high 80s as well. Rey Fenix is pretty much Rey Mysterio territory at this point, the one that I'm interested in. So Sammy Guevara still in the 90s in most places despite the defeat to Orange Cassidy. Samoa Joe did boost up 5, he was at 72, so that's good to see that we've got him up to 77. You can clearly see where we signed him and we've started giving him a mega push because WWE did not have him over at all. At 42 he's still a good hand, maybe doesn't have the psychology, but it's the Samoa Joe, man. That's all that needs to be said. Nakamura 67, so he kind of needs a Samoa Joe treatment. Sir Brodie Lee still in a good position despite that defeat to Darby Allin. And Will Ospreay is up there as well. All good. Anyway, my throat is absolutely going, so as always, thank you very much for tuning in. I'm unsure if we're going to call the event Starfest. We may change it. I know my next events are Starfest and then it's supposed to be Have a Nice Day, but I can't confirm. Have a Nice Day is probably going to be a tag team showcase. I'm looking at going for that 100 rating, so we might put that into the 4th week of April. We obviously stole Global Wars from RevPro, and it's looking likely we're going to have an AEW Live special, so not a pay-per-view technically, so it won't make pay-per-view money, but we'll get big eyes on the product as we have AEW Global Wars. If we can get as many people on a loan from New Japan, we'll go all out for a spectacular show, bringing as many talents in for that one-off night as we can in the 2nd week of April. So it's on the road to Starfest at the moment, unless I change the name of the pay-per-view, but we're still basically 4 weeks to an event. So apart from that, nothing else to add in, but thank you very much for staying with us and watching the show, and hopefully you'll join us for the road to the next event, starting with Dynamite in a couple of days. So cheers for watching, much appreciated, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.